Welcome back. You're tuned in to 93.5 English Harbour Radio. It's a beautiful Tuesday right here at the Antigua Yacht Club Marina. In the studio with me today, we have, of course, Alison Sly-Adams, and we're talking about Antigua Sailing Week. Before we took that commercial break, we were speaking about, the involvement of Peters and May being the official yacht transfer and logistics partner for Antigua Sailing Week. Now, with that partnership, it gave birth to the Peters and May Round Antigua race.
Indeed.
Right. Now, this race, tell us about it.
Okay, I mean, the race has been, I think it's the 5th year we've had this as the official first day of racing before Sailing Week starts. Basically, the year that Dickinson Bay stopped. What used to happen is, prior to that, some of the boats would race right around, the bigger boats would race right around the island and come back to English Harbour. This was kind of the last few years of Dickinson Bay, and the bare boats would stay at Dickinson Bay. So the year that we took Dickinson Bay out, we said, well, we still have the demand for this race, so we said, let's put the race in, and each year it's growing. So I think we had about 40 entries this year. It's already looking good for this year. We've got more than 30 entries, and the great thing about it is that it's you don't have to enter Sailing Week. You can just do that race. So if you're an offshore boat, if you don't really want to do the round cans racing, this is a great race for you. And it's also a good tune-up day for a lot of the crews that arrive a bit earlier and are still training because they might not have sailed together before. So it's a great opportunity for them to
get into the chemistry.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so for my listeners out there who are wondering, how does a boat get registered for this race?
Okay, very simple. SailingWeek.com. You hit the enter button and you go to the entry system, you put your name in. You don't have to pay. At this stage, you don't have to pay until about a week before the race. We do offer, of course, early payment discounts. But no, you just get your entry in. And actually, that's one of the things that we're trying to encourage boats to do more and more earlier, because you basically, the more you get boats entered early, the more other boats say, oh, hang on, they're racing, that's good competition for me, I'll race. So a good example of that, we just had Leopard enter last week, 100-foot racing boat, and they're putting themselves out there for exactly that reason. It's like, come on guys, who's going to come and compete against us?
Yeah, and I heard about that. They're looking for competition in their class pretty much.
Yeah.
Boats of that size and so on.
Yeah.
And now this race, it happens a week before Sailing Week.
The day before, yeah.
Okay. Now, what are some of the races involved? I'm not sure if I'm putting you on the spot, but what are some of the races involved in Sailing Week?
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot, actually, because as everyone in this area knows, I'm not the sailor girl, I'm the marketing person, and the sailor girl is good for her sailing right now. She'll be back in a couple of days, so she'll be the person to ask. But, basically the races head out of English Harbour every morning. The race starts are off Fort Charlotte and Rendezvous generally, although they're looking at some changes for this year on that. And people either go off towards the east or off towards the west coast, do the courses for the day, come back in. But the key thing really is 3 to 4 hours of racing each day, or 3 to 4 hours on the water, and the races are adjusted according to the conditions. So it's not that we set a specific course and that's it, because obviously you can wake up one day and the wind and conditions are different. Right. So you need to take that into account.
Okay. Now, of course, let's go back into your forte somewhat. To pull off an event like Sailing Week must take a lot of sponsors. How has the response been from sponsors for this event for this year, the 5th year?
Yeah, obviously it does. It's been very good. We're still in conversation with some sponsors, but we've, as you mentioned, Peters and May, which is an excellent sponsor for us. Very precious and special to our heart is English Harbour Rum, of course. Yes. And it's interesting. Right now we're doing research because it's the 50th. We're putting together a book. So it's very interesting when you look back on the old programmes and you look back on the involvement of their business. It was originally Cavalier that was the sponsor, and then about 20 years ago it changed to English Harbour Rum because English Harbour Rum was born. Now, of course, they've developed their port and sherry, and they, I believe, are holding off their latest Madeira for Sailing Week. So it's kind of, you find that the event and the business can evolve really well together, and you become this kind of mutual partnership in terms of your marketing, and that's what works really well for us with English Harbour. We also have this year a new sponsor who's Dream Yacht Charters, who are they have a base that's just moved down to English Harbour. They've been based in Jolly Harbour for 2 or 3 years, but they have I can't remember the number. It's something like 800 bases around the world. So a very big company. That's the bareboat classes, and through our German marketing partner KH&P Boats, they have a huge amount of those boats booked this year. And then we have, of course, Gill, which is our official merchandise, and the 50th merchandise has just arrived. And it's in our store. We're actually just setting up the fixtures properly in the next 2 days, and then the shop is fully open. That's down at Harbour Walk. But we've got, hats, t-shirts, technical gear for sailing. So some great product coming. So yeah, the relationship is really important with the sponsors for us. It's not just about us trying to get money. You can get money from anyone. You can, but you can't. But in relative terms, you can go up to anyone and say, "How about Sailing Week? We need your money." That's not going to make a great relationship. You need to develop something within the event that works for both of you and the competitors, and that's really critical. If you put a brand within your event, then that's a representation of you and your decisions, and you need to make it work for everybody. You don't need it to be something that the sailors are kind of looking at and saying, what the heck is that? So, yeah.
All right, well, I haven't personally tried the port or the sherry yet for English Harbour Rum, but that's because of a sort of a New Year's resolution. I said to myself, I'm only going to drink for this month of January water. That's all I'm drinking. So...
Well, I'm with you on that, although I'm drinking coffee, of course. But fortunately, I did try the sherry in the port before Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. That was the problem. I'm supposed to have tried it before Christmas. But so, February, we get to go from
Fair
February.
enough.
Hopefully, they don't sell all the bottles before that time, because I heard that they're going very well.
Yeah, I bet.
Now, how does the public, what's the involvement with the public, especially those in the English Harbour area when it comes to Sailing Week?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, and again, that's something that I think is being reinforced for us doing the research on the book right now. So the huge amount of people who have been involved in Sailing Week over the years, and and for some people from the very beginning, it's been a major part of their lives. People like Lisa Nicholson, Sir Hugh Bailey, Peter Deeth, Geoffrey Piddock, Janie Easton, they've been there. Well, Geoffrey's a little bit later, but everyone else right from the very beginning. And the passion that they've got is still the same today, And what's quite interesting is that when the event was created, the whole purpose of it was to extend the season. And that was the main objective, and have fun at the end of the season. And I think that the great thing, and we sat with Lisa a couple of weeks ago, we had a breakfast with some of the old timers basically, and she sat in the meeting and she said, well, the reason, that's the reason it was created. And I said, but that's fantastic, because that's exactly the reason it still exists and is so critical and important to the economy. But from a community point of view, everybody gets involved, whether they like it or not. And it's not always everybody's favourite event, because it does mean that there's such a huge amount of traffic to the area. It makes it very difficult to do day-to-day business. But most of the businesses around here fully support the event, get involved, do what they can. Obviously it's usually the last big week of the year. And it's not been as big as it was. It's much smaller, but still businesses are so supportive of it. And obviously with the 50th coming, we're looking forward to it definitely growing. We've already got 78 entries. We had 101 boats last year, so that's significant. This time last year we had 39 entries, so we're pretty much double.
Okay, so is there a particular number that you're looking to hit in terms of entries?
No, I mean, it's we want more. We just want more. We've got a planning number.
Because you said 78 you have so far, and you had
39 this time last year.
So it's almost double what you had last
year.
What was the turnout last year?
101 boats.
101.
Yeah, but I would love to say yes, it's going to double. I don't think it will, because you often get an early flurry of entries, people that just want to get their entry in, so they're on the list. We don't know. We really don't know at this stage. It's very difficult to predict. But for sure it'll be more. And we're having some very positive conversations with lots of boats. So we know there's boats that have not entered that have confirmed verbally to us. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, with Sailing Week, parties are a must. And logistically parties, and as I said, everything with traffic. Has there been any concerns in regards to events that are going to be happening down in this area for Sailor Week?
Yeah, I'll be honest, we haven't got to that stage yet for this year. I mean, we obviously have our programme laid out. I'd say we're in the last 2 to 3 weeks of finalising most of what's on that programme. And that's, at that point, is when we start our meetings with national parks and then the police, security forces, Defence Force. Everybody gets involved to start planning the logistics of that. And so one of the things we always do is a post-mortem. So we did that in May, and we'll go back through what were the good and bad things about what happened, and especially logistically, and obviously build that into the planning process for this year. But the main thing that will be so important is communication, as you know, to make sure people know where they should or shouldn't be going on any given day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, of course, you know, with a festival of this magnitude, you guys have been doing it and doing it successfully over the past 50 years. What involvement does the government play with Sailor Week?
Oh, very significant. Actually, yesterday we were in a meeting with the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Authority to do an update on the event, and especially because this year we have a kind of new strategy to do with spectators. We always have them. There's always, you'll know about the breakfast at Shirley Heights, for example, is one of people's favourite events. It's always a great start to the week, and also on that day there's a lot of boats out on the water chasing the race, as we love to call it, and so that, and the Chase the Race last year was so successful that what we're doing this year is, and just as I say, in discussion with tourism, we're putting together a Chase the Race strategy, for want of a better phrase, and there's going to be boats out on the water every day. There's also going to be an event at Shirley Heights every day, so a spectator event. Okay. And then there's going to be a Chase the Race after beach party every day at different beaches around the island, which I'm not going to declare right now because we're still in conversation to confirm things. But that, and what's going to happen is that in a week and a half's time, we've got representation along with tourism and some of our partners at Toronto Boat Show, Dusseldorf Boat Show, London Boat Shows, or travel show, should I say, this weekend, where we're really starting to push that aspect, and you'll see some digital marketing going out on it, because with the booking windows shortened as they have now, you know, people are booking kind of 6 to 8 to 9 weeks out from an event. We basically want to really push the aspect of, if you don't sail, you can still come to Sailing Week and be part of the party. So that's on the water spectating, Shirley Heights spectating, or of course, as you say, at the party later on.
All right. Well, we're going to get a little musical update, a little musical break. We're going to come right back after this, though, and continue our conversation with Alison Sly-Adams.